pretty much need to spend some time outdoors every single day. I look for little bites of nature that I can breathe in, embody, and take home with me. I thought I would bring you with me. This trail is Purgatory Trail. It's close to my home. All the paths are named after places and characters in Dante's Inferno. Somewhere in the middle of all of these paths is a mossy covered tree under which I have always wanted to read or knit. That's our destination. It's really hot today and it is midday, but that also means I'm alone on the trail, which is always nice. This is the Rhine Oak. Can you see the likeness? Do you like my ancient GoPro footage? I think this is like one of the first models of GoPro. I just wanted to see if it still worked. I mean, it does if you don't mind having seizures while you watch it. So, we'll move on. I used to run and hike in super cushioned DMX shoes. I thought I was helping myself, but I realized I was just creating very cushioned casts for my feet. So now I use water shoes, very thin water shoes, for all my running, all my hiking, and I am just better off for it. Here we are. Is it not mythic looking? In my pack, I usually just have a phone, maybe a little small knitting project, and some water. And I only need water if I'm going to be out longer than 2 hours. Favorite summer yarn, Lindy chain and turmeric. And I've pieced together, this is the back, this is the front of my raw tee. Now I've worked the sleeve decreases. Now I'm working the body. Lindy chain isn't hard on my wrists and hands, maybe because of the chainette construction, it grabs the needles, but it is a little slippery. I do think that it might have a little more give and elasticity than straight linen or cotton would. There was no difficulty with this net. I lost track of my stitch count a few times. You hear a rooster?
Can you hear that? One thing about being here in the very hottest part of the day is there's rarely anyone else out. And in the shade, it is not unbearable. Can you see how airy this weave is? This fabric? I think this is as light as it can get.
You know, when you're conscious that someone is watching you knit, you might start knitting weird and fumble more. Some days I feel like every time I pick up my needles, I'm approaching things as a different person. It all depends on what I'm thinking, my attitude, everything. Can you see the tension change here between this section and the one beneath it? Just a different day. Different thoughts in my head, different distractions. I found this chainette can be a bit splitty, where though these are blunt needles, they will still sometimes pierce through the center of the strand, and then I'm left with these awkward little picks or loops, like you can see one right here. What I try to do is check every few rows and see if I left any of those, and then I will drop stitches down to that section and try and pick the loop up with the rest of the strand as if it were a strand of yarn.
I made a resolution to bring my camera more places, or my phone, and record more. To fit talking with you all into my life more. There was a bit of a learning curve. There still is, but I am enjoying it. This morning I worked in childcare at my church. I was with the little ones, babies, and they're all like, just most of them are starting to pull up and toddle around, but everyone needed comfort. And I got a major upper body workout holding a baby, a big baby, in each arm. Just lift, 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 lift. Rock and then walk around doing the patting on the back and up and down, you know, all the tricks that just come back to you if you've ever sat with a child or had a child that you had to comfort a lot. All of it came back. It worked for every baby except one. But he was new and he didn't know us. But my arms literally ached. And I had worked out the day before. So if I look like the Hulk in the next video, don't be surprised.
Don't I look all natural and I'm just strolling in the woods with yarn. That's all. I just do this every day with cameras attached to my whole body.
Are you a picker or a thrower? Or do you knit continental? Or do you care?
So, are you a carefree crafter? Do you live in the moment and work on whatever you feel like at that time until you're no longer feeling it and then move on? Or are you very achievement oriented? Do you approach your making with spreadsheets, checklists of things you haven't tried yet, careful planning? I love the planning, but mine is a lazy sort of plan. I look in my queue, I compare colors, I look for wardrobe gaps, but then I often let a random test knit that comes up or the desire to knit something bulky all of a sudden take over and disrupt all of my planning. Hence the piles of sacks by the couch. I think I require a little of both to be happy. I like overarching plans that require me to learn and grow, like this channel, like making a first-person video for the first time or second time, or my 365 projects I did with photos. But I've always had this hyperactive person inside that needs to be busy with something to keep my wheels from spinning. Something like running or making or shell collecting or finding the perfect rock or honing in on some aspect of a subject in conversation. That part of me appreciates a spur-of-the-moment change of plans to accommodate my needs at the time. And there you have it. Knit 4 stitches forward, drop 3 back. On one of my favorite trails, to my favorite tree, to work on one of my favorite types of projects in the summer. And thank you for doing that with me. So I'd like to know how you get little bites of nature, little breaks. You may not live near a trail. What do you do? I'd love to hear.